We never did consider that possibility, the possibility of becoming totally and incurably hooked. The year was 1994. That was the first time Scott and I set foot, or should I say canoe, into the Killarney backcountry. The park was a mere 30 years old back then, and we were rapidly approaching the same. We've been doing this for 30 years now. Circumstances are a bit different from what they were on that first trip. We both married and started families. Scott has 2 daughters, and I have 3 boys and a girl. We have a lot more canoeing experience and a lot less hair. Our appreciation for the landscape has only increased over time, while our need for maps has decreased. Our focus has gradually shifted from a quest for adventure to an appreciation and enjoyment of the experience. There is one thing that remains the same over these past 30 years. That is the desire to return. Over the years, we have typically done the 3 to 5 day trips and have seen most of the park. However, there were a couple of sections neither of us had ever seen before. The far west, including McGregor Bay, East and North Channels, Helen and Low Lakes, as well as the far north part of the park, including Plunge, Little Bear, Rocky Channel, Bear, Goose, Fish, and Great Mountain Lakes. With a journey around the extremities of the park, we would finally experience these missing sections. What a great excuse to do the longest route in the park. 10 days and 32 different lakes. 125 kilometers in total. 31 portages totaling 20 kilometers. We arrived at Site 13 on Killarney Lake about mid-afternoon. This is the 3rd time today unloading the canoe. We will only have to do this 40 more times by the time we finish this trip. So, let's see if I can unload this pack without making it look too heavy.
Well, Killarney is special to me because it was the place where I learned I was a backcountry camper, and it was a place where I learned that I had what it took to paddle into the backcountry and to portage a canoe and to camp that way. But it was such a rewarding and restorative and healing experience. And my wife and I fell in love with that experience together, and subsequently our children, both of our daughters, came to enjoy Killarney. And some of my richest memories of us as a family are on the campsites in Killarney. And every time I go back, I am certainly experiencing the moment that I'm there, that present moment. But the memories are just outside of the frame. They're always so present. And it's just a wonderful spot for me of tremendous memory and connection.
I think for me, it started off with that first trip, and I was amazed at the beauty of the place and how radically different it was from where we grew up in southern Ontario.
Right.
That made me want to go back time and time again. The lakes were so clean and pure. It was better than swimming in any of the lakes around where we lived.
Yeah. No place like it.
No, and so yeah, I couldn't wait to go back and bring my camera and photograph time and time again. Became a slight obsession, just that desire to keep going back. It's such a beautiful place to canoe in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I spent a lot of time there. We took my two older boys for quite a few years in a row until they reached the high school age and started working summer jobs, and then it became a little bit more difficult to go every summer. And with my two younger kids, we've started going back there, and they started in diapers going to Killarney. That's how young they were, and yeah, they can't wait to go back time and time again as well.
Well, the range of things that you can do in the park, it's a wonderful place to canoe, but as we found out, a few years back, the hiking is phenomenal as well. The La Cloche Silhouette Trail, and the second film that we made together was just a fantastic experience. So I think it's worth noting that it's a wonderful place to hike and to canoe.
Yeah.
What was fascinating, I think, about this new trip that we did this summer, the circumnavigation of the park, this 30-year anniversary of the trip. It was such a special trip for us in '94, and it started this whole history of backcountry camping. And so to recognize that it was 30 years ago, and we've been going there ever since. It was kind of surprising that so much time had gone by, and what a wonderful way to celebrate or pay homage to all those years that the park has given to us, than to go back and to make a circumnavigation around the park. We were returning to where it all began 30 years ago, and so circling the park seems really natural.
When everything is going right, paddling a canoe is an elegant experience. Slicing through clear, calm waters of Killarney can be meditative. At times you can even forget you're paddling at all and just get lost in your thoughts or the intricacy of the shoreline you pass by. Once you've experienced the beauty of traveling by canoe, you never forget it. Perfectly mirrored shore in the still surface of the lake. The sound of the bow gently pushing through water. And the hypnotic rhythm of the paddle. All these make traveling by canoe just as enjoyable as reaching the destination.
Nice.
See some water down there. Like we might just drag the gear up and over this little hump on the
All right.
right.
It's the portage that makes traveling by canoe a unique experience. For every beautiful lake, there's land that stands between it and the next body of water. At these times, it's necessary to carry all your gear and canoe across land to the next stream or lake. You literally turn your mode of travel upside down. Packs that were once nestled in the bottom of the canoe are hoisted up onto shoulders. The canoe that previously rested underneath you as a buoyant barrier is now lifted above your head, the hull gliding through low-hanging leaves and branches, its rounded bottom facing toward the sky. In spite of the strenuous nature of the portage, it can be a much needed change of pace. Your world is reduced to what is in your pack, and the trail becomes a microcosm of life. You learn quickly that passage to the next lake is made easier or harder based on the things you choose to carry. Reaching the end of the portage is not a race. Given the gear we had and the desire to single carry, we found the need to rest every 300 to 600 meters, depending on the terrain and the level of exhaustion or degree of pain we were experiencing. Stopping to rest gave us the opportunity to rehydrate and really notice our surroundings. At the beginning or end of a portage, we would make time for an extended rest to enjoy lunch.
Yeah, there's the sign.
There's a reason why we call these canoe trips and not portage trips. But you cannot have a canoe trip without the difficult simplicity of the portage.
your second coffee, do you want me to heat up water? Or... Oh no, I'll heat up water.
Still have hot water?
No, won't be hot enough for.
Okay.
Do you mind if I make it with the last little drops of this?
No,
milk in
not
this?
at all.
That's what I'm thinking.
The arrival on site is like the discovery of a new land. And the setting up of a campsite is a mini act of creation. Here's a flat spot for the tents. The camp kitchen can go there, and that's where we'll access the lake to get our drinking water. Oh, don't forget to collect some firewood. Let there be camp.
Not too hot for a camera.
And with every act of creation, there comes a time for rest. And for us, Killarney is a place to seek restoration. There's nothing better than the stillness of dusk out here on the shores of these lakes. After supper, we enjoyed some time around the fire with good conversation and a great view. John Muir once described the backcountry as a place to wash your spirit clean, and we've certainly found this to be true.
Look like eggs.
Over the years, Killarney campsites have provided the settings for our own reconnections with friends, family, and the land.
Yeah, we just gotta keep this left shore on our sights. It'll take us right there.
One of the best parts about spending an extensive amount of time in the wilderness is the way in which our rhythms come to align with the natural world. The pace of modern life has gotten impossibly faster, and we feel more and more alienated from our true natures. We usually approach our days as a list of obligations and accomplishments that must be met, the incessant ticking of the clock, an enemy we must conquer. We assume an aggressive stance to the world and live in perpetual states of dissonance. When all of life is a fight, is it any wonder that we burn ourselves out and become numb to the call of anything that might uplift us? Here in the backcountry of Killarney, the experience invites us to feel again, to witness the beauty of dusk while enjoying the warmth of a fire, to feel the firmness and connection to the earth as we fall asleep each night, and to be moved by the cry of a distant loon or the call of a barred owl. When we pay attention and answer these calls to resonance, we connect with the natural world and cannot help but becoming transformed by its rhythms. During this trip, we found ourselves following the light. We woke and began our days with the arrival of the sun, and we were ready for sleep shortly after it set. These rhythms, which would seem so out of place back home in our world of artificial light, screens, and entertainment, became very natural to us and strangely comforting. Walking forested trails, sleeping right on the ground, and drinking water from the lake not only embedded us deeply in the landscape, we felt more in sync.
Backcountry camping features many small actions that slow the pace of life and create a space for mindful living. Rising at dawn, enjoying a hot cup of coffee, cool swim in the lake, and closing out the day sharing stories by the fire.
And then around.
Even the ritual of reaching a portage, with the unloading of the canoe, the hoisting of gear on our backs, leaning the canoe up against the perfect tree for a much-needed break, and finally, the reloading of the canoe at the end of the portage. All these tasks help us to stay grounded in the present moment, even when that moment is as taxing as a portage. Each step of the process requires mind and body to be fully present. Not only do these acts structure the day, but they mark a recognition of moments where the important qualities of life seem a little closer, a little more in focus. And in a world of ever-increasing chaos, the ceremonies of backcountry camping allow us to slow down and to linger in the details of the natural world and our place in it. As Byung-Chul Han states, rituals are symbolic techniques for making us at home in the world. But we like to think of it as being at home in the wild.
For the past 3 decades, I have been canoeing and photographing the Killarney landscape. The wilderness here provides a quiet spot to reflect and admire the vastness of the land, the sky, and the water. The subject matter seems endless. The intricate designs of lichen, the infinite variety of rock and water compositions, or the patterns and colors of surface reflections on still or choppy waters.
Sweet little waterfall.
Each time I return to Killarney, I'm excited about the possibilities for my search for beauty and a way to express that in film or photography.
Geometric pattern. It's really cool there, the way those rocks have all split like that.
The area of the Cloche Mountains is a very unique landscape, with its bright white quartzite hills, seemingly endless sparkling clear lakes, and a diversity of plant life distinct to each area of the park. Group of 7 artist AJ Casson reflects, I don't think I ever got anywhere as much material as I did around La Cloche. You don't have to hunt. You could just get into one spot and work. I would agree with that. My dilemma has always been that of an overwhelming amount of material and a limited time to work. So, while on a 10-day canoe trip around the perimeter of the park, I found the experience of trying to capture these images quite challenging. Only so much time could be spent exploring, studying, and composing. We had a destination to reach each day before the earlier nights of mid-September ceased to provide enough light for us. These moments are captured for future reference, but mostly to pay homage to the beauty of this land. I realize that a two-dimensional image is pale in comparison to experiencing the actual landscape. However, these images will reveal things that most of us never take the time to notice while moving through the land. Never fully appreciate without a captured moment to slow us down and demand an audience. These images illustrate and celebrate the beauty of Killarney, a place where seasons come and go, but with each return trip, we find ourselves in a land where time stands still. Its beauty is timeless. Having spent so much time traveling and camping in the park over the years, our 30-year anniversary trip found us returning to some familiar places. These places were not just physical locations, but spaces carved out in memory after years of camping. Echoes of the past would surface alongside the present experience, and, in this way, as Anne Michaels has said, every moment became 2 moments. As we paddle through the shallower waters of Balsam Lake, I can remember the time spent on Site 153 during the celebration of my oldest son's 18th birthday. As we sat eating our dinner on Bay Fin, thoughts of the kids swimming here instantly came flooding back. Paddling by Site 139 on Bell Lake, I can recall the determination of my baby girl trying to filter a liter of water. We stayed on the same site on Carlisle Lake, number 103, that I spent with my 2 youngest one autumn weekend. And though the sun was concealed behind the clouds during our stay on Carmichael Lake, it didn't take much to recall enjoying a sun-filled afternoon so long ago.
My family was never far from mine when we were in Killarney. When the canoe would pull into a portage and frogs would jump out of the way, I was instantly reminded of my own children catching frogs. Sparkling water recalled sunny afternoons where we would swim and jump into the lake. And quiet days spent reading and playing games on site seemed like they happened only yesterday. Even entire days spent pinned under a 10 by 10 tarp as the sky unloaded buckets of rain hold a special place in our family memory. Our return to Killarney was not inspired by blind nostalgia, the false belief that things were better in the past, and that we needed to get back to something that we had lost. Rather, our circumnavigation was based on the notion that Killarney has been the setting for many treasured memories over the years, and it's on these lakes and campsites that they dwell most vividly. We feel that we've been at our best here in the Killarney backcountry, as individuals, as friends, and as families.
As a young wilderness guide in the 1920s, Sigurd Olsen concluded that he had learned many important things, but most of all, that friendships ripen swiftly in the wilds. That can certainly be said about the two of us. We can't think of a more fitting way to celebrate the past 3 decades of exploring Killarney and the Cloche Mountains than with a 10-day canoe trip around the park with a good friend, priceless memories, and a camera or two. 30 years have crept up on us very quickly, and now, with this new voyage completed, we have come full circle.
portage, but it's got to be here somewhere.